A flashback. I am 50 and my STBX is 52. I have had 2 previous marriages. At 22 I married a 27-year-old hottie who was bipolar. Man, that was 5 years of some of the best bonding and bizarre ups and downs. I finally had enough, wasn't going to ruin my 30s. At 32 I married again. Pretty stable for almost 12 years, or so I thought. My ex checked out on me the last 3 years. Neither of them cheated. Now you would think I was older and wiser. 7 years ago, I met the most gorgeous Hispanic lady. She was engaged and I had a girlfriend. We all hung out at the same place after work. Long story short, she was divorcing and I was single. We talked extensively for 3 months, emails all day long from work, evening together, etc. Alive together for 1 year and married the past 2. She is very financially independent with a very high-paying job. However, the mask came off and satin was revealed. This lady has 4 kids from 3 different men. Has cheated on every one of them. Has cheated on me several times. She, like your soon-to-be ex, had a man on the line within days of our separations. She plays the I need to find myself stuff every time. I was so in love with her I overlooked everything and took her back 6 times. My wife suffers from borderline personality disorder. If you research that you will find they are snakes. They put up a front to the world, lie, cheat, is emotionally detached, selfish to a flaw. When my wife would hurt my feelings and I would tell her she need to apologize, her reply would be, I've already forgiven myself. Smackdown. She is emotionally cruel and she knows it. She thrives on ruining men and they have no emotion attachment and really never have any true guilt for how they can destroy a man. When she got with me, told me her ex felt sorry for me. I thought I was different. Well, let me tell you, brother, I was a fool. Another aspect of BPD is that they grow up in a very dysfunctional family. The one true thing we share is that cheating occurred. I lost the trust. Our relationship never was going to work and I am slowly learning that. She's been gone 6 weeks, NC, clocked my cell and email. I have no idea where she is and she has caller ID at her office, so my messages about bills I leave on the answering machine. At my middle age I have discovered one thing about me. I am codependent. I seek my happiness through others. I perceive a lot of that in you. Your issue is that you have a daughter. Focus on her and you. I hate so to be so forward since I am a month late on this. Your wife has emotionally checked out on the marriage a year ago. She's had a year head start. She had this in the back of her mind for a long time and did not share it with you. Women tend to do that. Once the honeymoon is over and daily life starts to kick in, women want that high again. Become bored with their partner, start looking for flaws to complain about, emotionally check out. But trust this, just like my wife, she left all her other husbands and had wild romantic affairs. Returned to her husbands only to go have more wild affairs. I believe your wife is starting this cycle. Don't be her landing strip until she refuels and flies off again. Men are different, we become comfortable. We tell our wives how we feel. Women are good communicators in a marriage. They hold things in until they have had enough. Then they plan an escape. Don't do things with the intention of how she is going to feel about it. She ambivalent. You aren't going to make any headway here. Work on your codependence. Get your self-esteem back. You're young. Your 30s will be much better. You will find a woman, take it slow. There are good ones out there that aren't takers. Remember this, you should go into a relationship to give something, not go into it with the idea of what you can get out of it. If both people aren't on that same plane, it's doomed. A reflection, the beginning. I made the biggest mistake of my life 3 years ago. This story is so complicated that it's hard to know where to start. There are a lot of details I will leave out to shorten the story. I fell in love with a woman that was the most beautiful woman, physically, Hispanic, I have ever met. She was 49 and recently divorced. I vaguely knew her age. I was 47. We had been acquaintances at a local American Legion. I had known her for a while. Anyway, 3 years later, she was divorced and I had broken up with my girlfriend. We became friends and emailed each other all day long from work for the next 3 months. Sept 6 was our first date. We go out and have dinner and drinks. I take her home to kiss her and she won't kiss me in front of her house because of her recent divorce and the neighbors all knew her ex. So, we drive around the corner and park. She proceeds to pull down her blouse and start grabbing me. I tell her that's not what I want. I want a LTR, not bonding on the first date in my truck. Fast forward, a month in and I am so infatuated I can't see straight. We are at the watering hole and she tell me about 10 months ago 20 or so people from her work rented a mansion at Rocky Point for a week and the trip is in 2 weeks. Tells me she wants me to come along. I tell her I can't, didn't put in vacation time and didn't have any money saved for it. House poor. She says she'll pay for it. I said I am not going to Mexico with no cash to meet your coworkers at Pat's new bum boyfriend. First red flag, I didn't see, if you don't go, we are through. What? We break up because I didn't plan for a trip I didn't know anything about. We don't talk for a couple days. I call her and she finally sees my point of view. She goes on her trip and we miss each other immensely. We start having the most intense bonding at around week 6. By the 3rd month, Nav, we decide to live together. My house was much nicer than hers and I were both upside down on our homes, so she moves in with me. then almost immediately starts accusing me of still being in love with my ex-GF, who I hadn't talked to in 5 years. 3 months later, Feb 10, she picks a fight about ex and then leave in the middle of the night and spends 2 nights at her ex's house. I beg her, I know, to come home. She says she did it because she was jealous of and thought I loved my ex, blame shift. Came home, had no real remorse, etc. In April 10, I need to marry her or we are through. She can't shack up with a guy because it's not proper. We marry in Sept 6, 2010 because that was our first date the year earlier. She wants a divorce within 2 months. She goes back to the ex again. I beg her to come home, see the codependent pattern. I finally do. She has run to him at least 10 times in the past 3 years. She has known him since she was 14. Every time she would say, I know you think we took 2 steps back, but I think we took 2 steps forward. What the hell? We go to marriage counseling. What a waste. W masked most of her issues in IC session. During joint sessions I am an open book. W is an illusion to everyone in public. She wears a mask. I believe I have seen several posts by Uptown who stated they are very good at putting on a face. Her is a little more in a nutshell, and for some reason I thought I was different than her past relationships. 1. She has 4 kids from 3 different guys. 2. Has cheated on every man she has ever been with. 3. Had an affair with a married 31-year-old when she was 17. 4. Won't hesitate when she is mad at me to go to the bar W, her daughter, and give out her phone number to other guys. 5. Big one here, if she hurts my feelings and I ask her to apologize, she says, I've already forgiven myself WFT. 6. Actually believes she is a princess, Cinderella syndrome. 7. Acted like a complete fool at a party, and when I told her the next day she should apologize to the hostess, she refused, stating, they are arrogant people anyway. What the hell? 8. Overreacts to everything. 9. Has panic attacks in her sleep, wakes up and can't breathe. 10. Monitors my phone and accuses me of cheating on her. 11. Is emotionally distant and not affectionate, not even with her kids, 2 grown, and 2 living with one of the exes. 12. Moved out on one ex while he was at work. She faked going in and had the movers show up while at work. Leaving her 11 and 13-year-old, did the same to me in Sept this year. 13. It's all my fault, of course. Counselor finally told us at about the 6 months range that I seemed pretty well adjusted. Then turned to Pat and said, we on the other hand have a lot of work to do. W quit going 2 sessions later. She had played the counseling game with all her exes and she quit going to all those too, telling them they should keep going though so they could find themselves. My W is very screwed up, and for some crazy reason I still want her. Man, this is painful. I haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg. There is so much drama, so much catastrophic reactions to everything. No impulse control whatsoever. She even told me I was right, that she will probably end up alone. She wrote me Monday saying she would file for D after their holidays because she wants to start dating again. That almost killed me, thinking of her having hot bonding with some other guys. Yet I still want her. I know I need to start counseling for my CD. I obviously have it bad. I always thought we could work through the infidelity part because she was confused. Now I know, due to 3 years and an eye-opener at counseling, that she is a mess internally. She has nightmare every night and would ask me to hold her and make the zombies go away. She also has some PTSD mixed in for being shot when she was bartending when she was 27. During one session the counselor, female whom EW picked, told her she exhibits a lot of borderline traits. That was close to the end of our sessions. I know I am not well adjusted. I know fully well that I am CD. Unfortunately, I didn't realize this until now. I am 50 as I have said. I was married previously for 12 years and we just grew apart. I believe I have developed this over the past 10 years as I reflect on this. I didn't used to be this way in my 20s and 30s. Anyway, I will be seeking counseling in the near future as the W has set me up to fail financially because I had to always met her demands, which I had to always charge on a credit card. She makes close to 25 more than me a year, but me being the man she always had high expectations. 2 things to note also, when I first started dating her, her daughter, who's 32 now, told me you don't want to date my mom because she is a black widow, she chews up men and spits them out. On the 2 occasions I spoke to my MIL about some of our issues. Both times all she said was, leave her, she's no good. What hurts the most is they are real on the outside, or so you think. That is what you lock into. When you pull back the curtain, that is when you see the Oz. Mine left me emotionally devoid. I am trying to deal with the fact I am in love with someone who is incapable to return that. It sucks that I thought she was my soulmate. They married me for a year until I was 100% in, then everything changed. I was the perfect victim due to my obvious CD. I have been trying to be the soother. It is apparent that she will never be happy with anyone. My 1049 and her daughter are the same way. They have never had happy, stable relationships. My family, on the other hand, are not divorcers. I don't know what it's like to have split parents, etc. That is why I say this is hard. I am the only one in my family to have been divorced before. My STBX treats marriage like a pair of shoes. She liked them today, but tomorrow they go in the trash. I have lost myself in trying to find the man I used to be. I fell head over heels when we started dating. She was very romantic and physical. Then once I was fully committed, she changed on me. Her affection towards me both physically, emotionally became distant. Her drive diminished and I thought it was because she was going through menopause. When I asked her why she changed, she said at the beginning she was trying to impress me. Now my self-esteem is shattered and I have anxiety attacks anytime she emails me. Today is especially bad for some reason. I am having difficulty accepting that it's over. I do own many things that I did that were terrible. I called her 32-year-old daughter a W because she is actually. But the reason I did was I got mad that she would take her mom out to bars and then men would try to pick up my wife. My wife of course loved the attention. That is what bothers me. And I know that my wife won't be loyal to the next guy she is with. She's never been loyal. I know these things now, but how do you just turn off love? That is what I am having difficulty with. I love her. She doesn't know how to really love. They never really gave herself to me emotionally, always had barriers. My wife never really put herself in my shoes too often. There were moments she seemed to understand my pain, but they were fleeting at best. She is totally self-absorbed. Everything was always on her terms, very selfish and self-centered. She told me she has always been catered to. Mentioned many times that she has always been a trophy wife both with money and looks. She rifles through men like there's no tomorrow, but she has the charm to pull it off. That's where I got sucked in. She loves the attention and she never seemed to care that it bothered me. Almost every time she would leave for a few days she would go out and make friends with other guys. Once we split for a week. When we got back together, she had a message on her phone from some guy wondering if she was still going to meet him at a bar. He infuriated me. Come on, how doormat at that. Just found out last night she is hooked up with the XH before me. She has left him 4 times in the past for someone else, me being the last one. Her relationship with him won't last. She isn't capable of lasting relationship. A co-worker of hers is my friend also. She is the one that called me and said she thought I deserved to know. The co-worker also said that everyone in her office has turned on my STBX. She said how arrogant and stuck up my wife acts at work have turned everyone against her. My wife even told them, not everyone can be a trophy wife like me. When she says that, she usually says, I have always been a trophy wife, both with looks and money. Her issues stem from her mother. Her mother is 77 and has really bad arthritis, is hunched over, etc. Her mother thinks she is the bomb. We hook up my MIL several times with older guys. Every time my mother-in-law would treat them poorly, put them down, etc. My STBX is shallow, selfish, makes statements all the time like, it's all about me, everything is on my terms, etc. Very low self-esteem. That's why she needs a man around. But the minute the new feeling wears off, she's down the road. The reason she went back to him is all the others won't take her back. She is very good looking, but very ugly inside when her true self comes out. He is not that bright of a person. When we met, all her coworkers, friends, if you can call them that, and family said I was the best one she has been with. I soaked that up. However, over time she broke what was once a confident man and shattered my self-esteem. All this is in hindsight, of course. While I was 100% in, I couldn't see through the fog. I overlooked every red flag because I was head over heels for her and would do anything. That's why I got in financial debt. She demanded stuff on her terms. Being married, I thought we would pay for it together over time. Stupid me. I have maxed one of my credit cards. Her name isn't on it. When I asked her 2 months ago about the debt, she said, that's your problem. I do fear she will come back. However, I know that it won't be anytime soon. I will give them a year. They had so much bad blood between them. However, 3 years have passed. They don't remember the bad they had between them. It will all come to the surface eventually. By then I will have moved on. She will never be in my life again. However, I am not there yet because I feel so hard for her. I was doing better since my WW left in September. However, today has been really tough on me emotionally. I miss her so much and the holidays don't make this any better. Thing is, I have 2 different women that would date me, but my feelings are all messed up and I can't seem to think about them when I am around them. I find myself thinking about my WW. I hate this feeling that just rushed over me today. She is basically the one doing the 180. She doesn't need money. She has blocked my cell phone and made it absolutely clear that I am not wanted in her life. She checked out on my several months before she left. If you read my original thread, I was married to a serial cheater who cheated on all her men before me. My issue is I was truly head over heels in love with her, so it's hard to just turn it off. We had a very rocky 3 years together and she always gave ultimatums. She made it clear she could just walk out of the marriage because that's just the way she is. Christmas Day was actually much better than the eve. I hung out with friends and had a pretty decent time. Word has it from one of her work friends that contacted me as she is already seeing someone else. I know it won't last because that's the way she is. But in the meantime, she won't miss me because she has someone else to occupy her mind. I try not to think about her, but then something will trigger and I get a rush of emotions. I really don't try to contact her because when I do, she just says hateful things that make me feel worse. I don't see how people can just move from one relationship to another so quickly. When we did counsel, the therapist told my wife she had a lot of unresolved issues and appeared to have BPD. That's when my wife quit counseling. She can't face someone telling her she has issues. Her ego is too fragile. I know I am hanging on to an illusion. The part I am having issues with is turning off the love I had for her. She played the push me away, reel me in game pretty good. When things were good, they were great. When things were bad, they were really bad. Funny thing is I know why she can't be genuinely. Her dad cheated on her mom all the time. She told me all men cheat, so she does it first. That's how she can be emotionally detached. She is into the idea that nothing lasts forever. It all part of her heavy borderline traits. It's weird, she is extremely attractive. Yet she has huge self-image and self-esteem issues. She needs constant validation from men to improve her self-worth in her mind. She makes very good money, so she isn't dependent on anyone for that. But you are right, she isn't worth me pursuing her because it would be drama anyway. I am having a hard time with the fact I met someone who will eventually die alone. She can't be fixed and I know this. I just don't want to accept it. That's my hurdle. I do want to try and fix her. But BPD can't be fixed. This is how she has been for over 30 years. Being almost normal, codependent issues. I am not used to this type of behavior in a relationship. She told me that several times when she was demanding something from me. She made it clear several times that she can walk out of any relationship if she doesn't get her way. After she left, she told me that I couldn't be controlled and that everything needs to be on her terms. She called me on Sunday morning at 3:30 a.m. Didn't leave a message or anything. So, I emailed her this morning and asked what she wanted. This crazy lady said she was missing me. This lady has put me through emotional hell for 3 years with cheating on me with her ex, withholding sex, and basically, I allowed her to walk all over me. She moved out while I was at work and vanished. Now 3 months later, she misses me. I hate this. I am so in love with her I can't see straight. But she is toxic. I am trying hard not to fall back into her trap. Neither of us can afford a divorce right now. She acted out all the time in our relationship. I was married to a child princess. I catered to her daily and she crapped all over me. But the feelings I have for her are overpowering my sense of judgment. She knows she has huge emotional issues and can't seem to resolve them. I know she never will. She's 52. Still, I am madly in love with her. I try to fix it and I know that I can't. I know I am weak when it comes to her. She has tried counseling in the past and it did no good. She has tons of emotional baggage, abandonment issues. For the divorce, I have already spent all kinds of money on her, trying to keep her happy. She makes a lot more than I do, but her and her money are soon parted. She buys stuff all the time. Regarding why I love her, she is fun to be with. When she isn't wigging out, I just love being around her. When I first met her, it was the classic love at first sight thing. I never felt that with my previous wife, nor with anyone else. She can be very loving, but she has a dark side also. She did this to her exes also. She told me in the beginning if she left me, I would never know. And I didn't. What is sad is I believe she tries to love me. But she has so much emotional baggage from her childhood that never got resolved. Her father was a serial cheater on her mother. She saw how devastating it was to her mother. When she was 8, her mom had a nervous breakdown. In her mind, all men cheat. So, she took on those traits from her father. She has tried counseling, but she never sticks to it long enough for it to work. Maybe 6 months tops. Then she quits. She expects the counselors to fix it. She never employs what they tell her, and she doesn't like to be criticized. Also, she masks a lot of her behavior from the counselor because she is embarrassed by what she does, but obviously not too embarrassed to knock it off. I just hate the fact that is my 3rd marriage and it's failing. My codependence gets me every time. Yesterday my wife called and was crying because I had told her I was seeing someone. She asked me if I wanted to meet with her last night after work. Of course, I did because I am so in love with her. We talked for about 3 hours. We had a better talk than when we went to counseling. I told her about this site and the things I have learned, like rug sweeping, blame shifting, etc. She told me she doesn't want a divorce. She is hugely jealous that I am seeing someone. She says she has dated 2 guys in the last 3 months, but she said all they want to do is get into her pants. Of course they do. My wife is very pretty. She said she can't connect with anyone because I am her baseline and no other guys seem to be able to match that. I told her I thought she was using me as plan B and she said I was being ridiculous. We talked about why things spun out of control and the issue I have with her adult children. We live on opposite sides of town and she said she wanted to work out our marriage. I told her I didn't want to live with her and that marriage counseling would be a must. She agreed. She also had me listen to a voicemail from a guy she went out with 2 times. What a pig. This guy was vulgar and talked about all the nasty things he wanted to do to her. The way he talked, I could tell that she hadn't been physical with him yet. She said she thought he was nice, but she is grossed out about he left the voicemail. I will say this about my wife. With all her issues, she doesn't appreciate being talked to in that manner, and I know this. She said she wishes she could replace me, but she said nobody can compare to me. I know I am probably making a mistake, but I have to try. I could tell last night she is in love with me still, but her baggage needs to address. What can I say? She admitted that she is jealous that I have moved on. I asked her if the reason she wants me back is that she felt she was going to lose me forever, and she said yes. I know she is a train wreck, so am I right now. I told her I would be willing to work on us but that she must go to counseling and that we needed to also go to MC. I told her we need to be apart for this year and could not live together. She doesn't need my money, and on Thursday she is going for another promotion at her job. She makes very good money already, so she isn't dependent at all on me for this. I am starting IC next week. I want to be with her. I know she has emotional issues. She does have mental issues, especially with commitments. She is scared and she is lost emotionally. She hates the fact that all the guys she tries to date want one thing from her bonding. She isn't like that. She needs an emotional connection. She can't do one night stand. If she were to do that, it would be with someone. She had already had a relationship in the past. Her 32-year-old daughter is a wild child. She dates guys that are 10 years younger and can't have a stable relationship, just like mom. Daughter has an 11-year-old son who she basically abandoned when he was 1 because she wanted to party instead of being a mother. Her 30-year-old son is a drunk who can't hold down a job. Both of them leech off mom because she makes awesome money. The entire family is dysfunctional, and I'm right in the middle of it. We did talk about her going to IC and maybe doing the rapid eye therapy. My wife is willing to go to counseling. Her issue is she doesn't really understand how to get past her issues and resolve them. We talked extensively about that last night. She doesn't like her demons but can't seem to get past them. She is not a bad person intentionally. She just has so much baggage it overwhelms her. Comment: she disappeared for 3 months. If you think she wasn't screwing anyone during those 3 months, you're delusional. She ran away to somebody. She left you for some other dude. Maybe she didn't sleep with the 2 guys she told you about. There was at least one more she was sleeping with that she didn't tell you about. OP responds: I understand what you are saying. However, there are 2 elements that are not correct. My wife doesn't do the on-bar scenes. She is more likely to sleep with someone she's had slept with in the past. Don't get me wrong, she has cheated on me with her XH, but she hasn't just gone out and found any old body. She's too scared to do that. I have always had attractive women. So, the hot part is really not the issue for me marrying above myself. I am not really trying to give excuses. If I am coming off like that, I apologize. It's just what she tells me. Last time we went to counseling, it started to stagnate in the sessions. I even told the therapist I thought we weren't making any progress after a while. Last night I did tell her we needed to fix ourselves before we could make any good progress on us. She could have done her ex again, but I don't think so. He's pretty po at her because she won't go back with him. She's pretty picky with guys. The reason she got with me is that I had known her for a few years before we started dating. She is too afraid of the weirdos out there to go out and pick someone up at the bar. We went to lunch today and she agreed to start IC again. We both agreed that we need to fix ourselves before we can really work on anything together. I know she is willing to go to counseling. I just need her to understand it can't be fixed in just a few months. When we first got together, we were fine. Little things started happening with her older kids. She has 4 altogether, ages 18, 20, 30, and 32, losing their jobs, living with us, etc. I don't have kids and it was hard for me to know how to deal with their irresponsibility. Her XH of the 2 younger ones started not letting them see her younger kids and was violating the custody agreement. He was doing this because she was with me, so that caused tension. Then we argued about her thinking I was still in love with my XW because I still had some things and letters in a drawer I had forgotten about. This is when she and Pia the XH between me and the father of the younger ones. After that it just got worse for me. I rug swept, drank more due to the pain, etc. There is a lot of issues we just never really dealt with. She became withdrawn, I crawled deeper in the bottle. She became more withdrawn and the cycle continued to decline. When we don't drink, we seem to handle things better. There is a lot of other stuff, but I don't want to make this too long. When I mentioned, she called me Sunday at 3:30 in the morning. Later that morning her phone rang and it was this guy she had met 2 days ago. She didn't answer and then he left the voicemail. It was very vulgar, obscene and creepy about what he wanted to do to her VJ, etc. Like I said before, I could tell by the way he was using his words he had not done anything with my wife. My wife isn't crude like that and it scared her. She barely knows the guy, 2 days. My wife has really never been in the dating scene since she was 24, she's 52. Most of the people she has been with are connected in some fashion with the exception of me. We happen to become friends because we belong to the same veteran organization. She freaked out about the VM, and yes, I believe she saved it for me to hear so I would believe her when she told me the story. My wife doesn't possess very good coping skills. When she was young her mom used to be jealous of her because of all the attention her father gave her. Her mom uses to call her fat and put her on a diet when she was 8. I have witnessed firsthand her mother say things to her that are obviously cruel, so I believe the stories I have been told from her youth. She was present when her mother stabbed her father. Additionally, when she was a single mother at 27, she was working a second job at night as a bartender. One of the patrons that she knew came into the bar and shot her, the bar manager and another customer. It took her 6 months to recover due to having part of her stomach and a few feet of her colon removed. This is why my wife has issues trusting people. This is why I am trying to convey that she doesn't go out and bang strangers. Due to my wife's lack of self-esteem from the childhood drama, she is very fragile and does not take criticism well. Additionally, due to the coping skills issue, she doesn't handle situational stress as well. This is why when we have intense arguments, she thinks I might harm her. I have never touched her violently, and she runs away, usually to her ex or her daughter's house. I have seen her start to panic when we have been out to a bar and people are getting loud. Not loud in an angry sense, loud due to the amount of people there, the music, etc. It's pretty obvious she has PTSD on top of all the other issues. Well, my WW spent the weekend at my place. We had a great time and talked extensively about what went wrong. I see her reason for leaving. It was pretty much out of control at the time. I see that if she would have stayed, we wouldn't have had a chance. I believe the separation did us both good and gave us distance to get perspective. We are taking it slow and we are going to seek out a good MC as well as I see counselors for each of us. It looks promising, but I am not going to put all my eggs in one basket. We will see how things go. She said she tried to date other guys during our separation and was always comparing them to me and was trying to find another one of me. And she can't. Anyway, as you know, she always runs to her ex for emotional support. He wants her back desperately and even offered her half his house if she would move back in. She told me she can't do it because she doesn't love him and knows she would just be faking it. I believe her because if she really did want him, she would be with him, hands down. I can tell she wants me, but we have so many issues we need to address in counseling it will be some time before we share a roof again. She also asked me if I would forget about this other woman. I told her no. I told her that her ex has always been in the background, and even though she will do the NC with him for months on end and even sent him a letter, he is always there if she calls. They have been friends since for over 38 years. I told her that I am no longer going to be an island and that if she walks out again, that I will initiate contact with the O and will not give this another chance. This may not be right, but I feel that turnabout is fair play. Anyway, here is what I need. It appears at this point I hold all the cards. How do I keep the upper hand so she doesn't try to dominate me with her BPD and PD personality traits? She is scared to date because of the two guys she went out with. One had Ed and the other, after 2 dates, left a vulgar message on her cell that scared her. She spent last weekend with me and she was more intimate than she has ever been in the 3 years we have been together. 2 months later, at the beginning of January, I had ons with someone she knows. They aren't really friends, but we have mutual friends that know her. Anyway, about a week after this, my wife wanted to R with me. I told her what had happened because I didn't want anyone else telling her and thinking I was trying to hide it. This has come up ever since. When she gets mad at me, she is saying things like, "You need to go be with X, I know you love her. You would be better off with her," etc. I know that she says this because she is jealous and hurt. But I keep saying that she threw me away, and what was I supposed to do? Sit back like a hermit? Meanwhile, she went out on dates but swears she did not sleep with them. I believe this because my wife isn't a jump in bed type until she knows them better. She can't get past the fact I slept with this woman, especially since we don't really have anything in common. I was drunk and she wanted to get laid, so I did it. My problem is she won't let it go, and we just go in circles on this issue. Any advice on how to deal with this until she can let it pass? My comment: you dusted yourself off and went and got laid. Most likely she already knew you got laid and got jealous. Maybe if you still were having a pity party for yourself and were calling your wife 1,000 times a day begging for the marriage, she still would be gone. Maybe not. Chances are she found out, but whatever the reason, your wife came back, making you her plan B. So now she has to deal with you moving on and having ons, and you have to deal with being her plan B. So the next time she brings it up, inform her that her plan B may not be any better than her plan A. Tell her it is not your fault that her plan A didn't work out for her. If you can accept being her plan B, then why can't she? Your old lady is just pissed off that her plan A didn't work out and she is taking it out on you. I think all her crap has nothing to do with you having ons, but the fact that she has to settle for plan B. So, her jealousy is more about her failure in her plan A and the fact that you moved on and didn't beg and cry for the marriage when she left you. Instead, you went out and lived your life without your wife. Again, every time she throws this in your face, tell her you are sorry that her plan A didn't work out when she dumped you.